Hey guys, this is FPL Tips and welcome back to another live stream. Hi there, hi Akash, and I'm not late. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see the screen clearly as well. All good, okay. So, not many people watching the stream at the moment. Okay, so we'll just cover up what happened in the last week and how the game week went for everyone, and then we have a couple of things in mind and we'll go in order, I think. So I made two horrible decisions, two consecutive game weeks. Again, went with Salah captaincy, despite knowing that Sun was the standard captaincy and was also recommended. Didn't work out well. The score was just about 58 or 60, I think. But fair enough, game week did still get a red arrow, but not a huge one. Yeah, every question will be answered. I think most of the questions you guys have will be answered through stats. I think uh, just let me know if you how your game week went, and maybe if we need to discuss some particular game. Rahul, yes, we will. What we'll do on the stream tonight is that we'll first look into stats, look into players specifically from each position. I think defenders, midfielders, and forwards, and accordingly, I have just put in players who are having a blank game B at the moment. So we'll take out the players which are best and try to make a form a free hit team. I have a free hit squad on my mind as well. You guys could also suggest. So we'll make a couple of drafts and see which goes the best one, and accordingly, you can have ideas as well. Is Adams fit to play? I've played free hit. Time to bring Aguero? No, don't bring Aguero. He's not still fit. I think he's slight injury concern or health issues at the moment as well. Adams has the concussion protocol for 10 days. Should be fine for game week 19 in my opinion. 89 was a great score, Shardul. It was usually a big and high scoring game week if you captain Kane or Son, which was recommended. And if you were stupid like me to captain Salah, then good luck this week. uh, am I going to play free hit? I have three strategies or three, you can say, plans in mind. So we'll be looking into games more. I have a slight update at the moment. The FA Cup for Southampton has been is most likely to be postponed with all the COVID issues. So there's a chance that the game week 19 Southampton Leeds game could be preponed to game week 18. So everyone who's on free hit or is planning to free hit, don't do that now. For a lot of people would have free hitted already, but in case you were waiting for the stream and haven't free hitted right now, don't do it. Wait until the news is confirmed and maybe till deadline or maybe 11th of January. If there is a Sheffield Southampton versus Leeds game in game week 18, I don't think there will be any need for a free hit team. So possibly wait until the next stream or until at least Monday. We'll be putting out drafts irrespectively, but I think you should wait. DS, CS2, yes, I think the City's clean sheet was wiped out in the last 40-50 seconds, and that was really bad. Even I owned DS, and he was also on a bonus. Salah for De Bruyne, Salah. That I think the main question is about Salah this week and what to do with him. Personally, I'm going to remove him for De Bruyne this week for sure. That is one transfer I'm going to make irrespective of my free hit or not. And there will be questions whether we should play him in 19 or not. But I think for this week, at least you should remove Salah for De Bruyne. Rashford or Sterling. Okay, we'll still dive into the stats if you guys have no other game week 17 related questions, and we'll look into the stats, and then possibly most of your Sterling, Rashford, De Bruyne, and Salah questions will be answered over there. Should I get a -4 for De Bruyne and Salah out? Yeah, possibly. I think removing Salah this week makes a lot of more sense because he does not have a fixture at the moment. Okay, we'll do one thing. Let me know if you guys can see the screen and the table as well. Okay, we'll go with midfielders first. Take a hit to replace McCarthy. I think McCarthy should be fine for 19, so there is no need unless he's completely ruled out. I didn't. I think the protocol is for 10 days, so should be that. Just let me know if you need to zoom in more, but I think this should be enough for you guys at the moment. Kane to Vardy after blank game week. After the blank game week, possibly yes, he has a double game week, but I'm not really confident. Maybe Martial or if Antonio is fit, downgrade to Antonio. The problem with Leicester is that both the games are home game, and Vardy hasn't been great at home this season. I've used my free hit need to attack Kane or Wilson or Laka or Marshall. I think Shenan, possibly the stats will answer your questions. Will Sterling start? I think he will. I think there is no doubt. Apart from the FA Cup game, I think he'll start all of the games, even tonight. Also, Henderson is starting tonight for United, as far as I know. No, 14 days is not the rule applied in UK. I think there are tests after 7 days, 7, 10, and 14. As soon as you're negative, you're back in training. McCarthy won't play in 18 for sure because Southampton have a fixture. Don't have a fixture there. If in case Southampton have a fixture, which is the Leeds Southampton fixture, I don't think McCarthy will play that fixture. Also, bench line, anything about 8 players is well and good enough for game week 18. So if you are managing about 8 players, apart from I think Berg or Bissouma, maybe even because Bissouma has a yellow card, if you're managing 8 players, well and good. Possibly don't no need for a free hit. Okay, so we'll start with the table. So we'll straight away go to expected goal involvements in the last 4 game weeks. Every stat in this table is for the last 4 game weeks. So we have on top Bruno Fernandes and then El Ghazi. Uh, the first thing that I can point out from this is that Aston Villa are irrespectively attacking a lot. Both of their midfielders are in the top 4 for goal involvements, which shows that Aston Villa versus Tottenham would not be an easy game for Tottenham defensively. One thing which I can take out of this stat at the moment is that I do not want Dyer in my or maybe Loris in my free hit team. Possibly a point to note, if anyone has Dyer, I would not bring in Dyer as a defensive asset in my team. Then you again have De Bruyne, and when you compare Rashford, Sterling, and Saka, you really realize that Saka actually has been playing better both than Rashford and Sterling. When it comes to Rashford and Sterling, which in my opinion, irrespectively, would have been Sterling, but the stats clearly say that the involvement for Sterling is much more. Another reason is that both these players actually like to scoring against their respective opposition in 18. Sterling has a great record against Brighton and Rashford against Burnley as well. When you look at shots on target or shots in general, I think Rashford is up on shots on target, which has clearly been seen because Sterling is not at all clinical when you look at it. But when you compare the shots as well, Rashford is I think better off than Sterling. But the only I think the number of chances Sterling is getting, which is the big chances total, is much better than for Sterling than Rashford, which slightly edges him over. If Aguero starts today or FA Cup potentially, I wouldn't still get Aguero for the double game. I don't see him starting both games. Now that Pep has figured out how to play Bernardo in the false nine role, I don't see that happening. Got Saka in place of WordPress, which I think is a good move. If you look at any stat over here, you'll find Saka in the top 5. So that potentially nails on one of my budget midfielders. I would pick Saka over El Ghazi because I think Crystal is a much more easier fixture. So in midfield, I would nail down Bruno Fernandes, De Bruyne, and Saka at the moment. I would leave the fourth spot if you're playing a 3-4-3 or a fifth spot. If you're playing a 3-5-2, I would definitely go for Sterling over Rashford this week. Aubameyang for game week 18 is something I'm not considering because you haven't seen him in form. It does not seem clicking out for him. I mean, if you're an Aubameyang believer or if you think that he will score definitely against Crystal, possibly go out for him. But I am not a player manager who would bring in Aubameyang just for the sake of a free hit draft because I haven't seen him perform. There is no stat that supports his performance, and I wouldn't take that high risk. I would possibly put my money on Rashford or Sterling in otherwise. What to do with Calvert Lewin? There is no reason. I think you should possibly hold him for this week at least. Another reason is now James Rodriguez is back in the team. Lucas Digne will be back next week. So you can clearly see that those factors which were downgrading his performance will be back, and I think he'll be back up with the numbers and attempts in the box. Also with the fact that Wolves have conceded about and are the worst amongst the worst 3 defenses in the last 4 or 5 game weeks, and they've not kept a clean sheet in a long time. I think the set piece threat which Everton possess at the moment will be harmful, and I think I can see Calvert Lewin score against Wolves. It won't be an high scoring game like a 4-all or 3-all like they had against Brighton, but maybe a 1-all or a 2-win or 2-1 to Everton is likely possible, and would keep Dominic Calvert Lewin. Let me know if any. And I asked you guys on Instagram if you want any other stats or anything. Let us know if you guys want any other stat inclusion in these tables or any other tables for that matter. Shots inside the box is some stat which I personally look at when I'm picking players. Clearly, Bruno Fernandes top of the list, and you got to have him. Again, Saka comes on to the list. Uh, if you're asking me on a double up on Arsenal, which becomes tricky, I would still play Lacazette, but then you might have to go El Ghazi or Saka depending on your choice. Because the Arsenal Crystal Palace is not an easy game, in my opinion. But if you have, in general, have faith in Arsenal's form, which has been great in the last four, I think their first four expected goals in the last four game weeks, then a Saka plus Lacazette double is actually possible for me, and I would leave Kane out of my team. One exclusion I would do from this team is Sun because this list is Sun because I irrespectively going to have Sun in my team. I feel that his XG is clearly not justified by his performance, and the stats do not reflect his performance on field. So there is no reason you want to look at those stats and think that no, I don't want Sun in my team. Uh, a lot of people talked about Gundogan as well, which I need to talk about. The big chances created zero. He created four chances, six shots, four inside the box. So clearly, you can see in a much advanced role. But I think the advanced role is more because Kevin De Bruyne was playing as a second striker. I don't think that is going to happen every game week in and out. So you possibly want to avoid Gundogan in your team at the moment. Headers conceded, please, is a stat. Is Robertson essential? Robertson, in my opinion, is definitely not essential at the moment. I think Liverpool have been conceding about two big chances per match or over two big chances per match. So you realize that they are very goal prone, and the goal threat their oppositions have been putting out there is actually there. So I don't see clean sheets coming out. And at 7 million, if you're not getting consistent clean sheets, I think I'm going to move on as soon as the double game week is done. If you have him at the moment, keep him for the double game week. But I think moving out of him after the double game week is very viable. I'm also waiting for the Matip news. As soon as Matip is fit, I think Matip will be nailed down in that defense, and I can do an easy switch from Robertson to Matip. Add team selected by players on four yellow cards. I think we'll check players on four yellow cards on the FPL site itself, so that shouldn't be a problem. Mahrez or Foden, I would look out for Foden for the double game week or for the blank game week. I do not trust Mahrez, and Mahrez is a player that Pep doesn't play as well. So I would personally avoid Mahrez even if he's performing the best. Is Cancel and Stones a good combo? We'll talk about defenders definitely. Last stat that I want to check, which I usually while taking picking players is touches in the penalty area. This is touches for the in the penalty area. So Sterling here is up top more over Grealish, Bruno Fernandes, and Zaha, Saka, everyone, even over De Bruyne. If you look at Brighton, you know that they leave space where Lamptey used to play and now Weltman is playing. That is the sole reason that I'm going to pick Sterling if I had to on free hit over Rashford. Also, that his ceiling is way too higher and his ownership is just less than 5%, about 4.8, I think. So it's a huge differential if you pick him and if he scores. Matip is back on 17. Yeah, there's no guarantee that he'll be back, but if I have a press conference confirmation from Klopp that yes, Matip is fit and he's going to play, I think the downgrade after double game week 19 is very simple for me. Kane for double game week 19, I wouldn't keep Kane. He has a single fixture. There are much more better attackers who have a double game week, and I would want to shift over there. Remove Adams and take Watkins for a hit. Don't do it now. Wait for the Southampton news. There's a very high chance that Southampton play in 18. I think we'll talk about Lampard in detail on another stream or a watch along. Possibly stick to FPL questions at the moment. Yeah, I know Matip is injury prone, but it saves you a lot of money. So you want to take those chances. And if he's injured by chance, you have the United defenders, the Chelsea defenders, and the City defenders in the same price bracket who are consistently performing irrespectively. So you can make an easy switch anytime. Tierney over Chilwell, I would not do that. For the next 2 weeks, yes, but overall long term, I still feel Chilwell is better. Okay, these are the defenders I picked out. These are the specific defenders that I'm even considering for the blank game week. Apart from any of these defenders, if you have someone, you possibly want to avoid them unless they are on your bench. I think Mitchell will play 18, so you need to definitely buy him for your free hit draft PR and bench him. Don't play him, but definitely on your bench. Rahul, we will discuss free hit drafts. At the moment, we discussed midfielders. We'll get on to forwards and defenders, and then we can move on to the drafts as well. There's no need to hold Kane for double game week 19. Possibly after 18, you can sell him. El Ghazi or Grealish wildcard, I don't really think because I think Dean Smith and Barkley both mentioned in a press conference now that Barkley is 100% match fit and is going to play definitely for the next Premier League game. I would not take a chance over El Ghazi unless you have budget issues. Don't go there. Okay, when you compare shots, I think there's no doubt that Saiz is highest for that. And then there's Clark, Holding, and Regulon. I would not be swayed away by Holding here because you know that the points last week as well was not that he's going to give it any every game week in and out. Cancelo also has two shots, but only one shot inside the box. Although his goal involvement is almost the highest when you compare it to any other defender, he's almost playing as a for when you look at the pictures and when you look at the game, he's almost alongside Gundogan and at times De Bruyne. So if there's one defender that's perfectly nailed on your free hit drafts, has to be Cancelo for me. Next, I would pick Tierney. Between Shaw and Saiz, I know that Saiz wouldn't get that clean sheet. So it's a 50-50 draw, and Shaw is slightly injury prone. If I had to, I would move out and possibly double up on Cancelo and Diaz if you're not picking up Sterling. So there are two ways out here. If you're picking up Rashford, then you have to pick Diaz plus Cancelo. And if you're going for Sterling, I think Cancelo, Tierney, and maybe a Shaw is decent. I'm not really sure if Shaw will keep that place. You'll have to watch out for the FA Cup and tonight's match. But if Shaw doesn't play tonight's match, I think it's pretty much nailed on and Shaw will start in the blank game week. Regional over Davis, yes, I think he will start, but I personally I would not buy a Tottenham defender or a Tottenham asset because, as explained in the midfielders, that you know that Aston Villa have been attacking really good and they will score. They scored against Chelsea, they scored against possibly United, and possibly score against City as well. So you don't want to take that chance. Should we buy Arsenal defenders? Not for long term, but definitely Tierney if you had to buy on free hit. What about Suchek having more points than Sterling? Yes, definitely Suchek has more points on Sterling, but I slightly feel that City are clicking, and you know, in the long term, Suchek would not outscore Sterling or a De Bruyne. When would wildcard usage be ideal coming in the coming game weeks? I think when you pair up wildcard with bench boost, that's the maximum use you can make of wildcard and the bench boost chip. So I think game week 25 is the ideal game week to wildcard, and then game week 26 to bench boost. I have Dallas, Kyle Walker, Peter Cresswell, Justin, Mitchell. Is it okay? If you look at the blank game week, you have, I think, only Mitchell playing this week. So possibly this week, I don't see your defense getting any points. In the double game week, yes, it looks on nailed because Cresswell, Justin, Mitchell all have decent fixtures. Not really Mitchell, but you can switch it to Walker Peters. Maguire is also a decent pick, but then it becomes a question of budget. So I think Shaw is decent, offering value at 4.8. What about Yedlin attacking and very cheap? I The only Newcastle player that I'm considering in my team is Darlow, who's the keeper. And I think apart from that, I don't want to waste my Newcastle defender spot for a Newcastle defender. I know they can score goals through headers and set pieces, but how often do you think that there's going to be a chance for Newcastle team to attack through set pieces? I think a majority of the chances will come down to Wilson, and he is the only person who makes a case in the attack, or apart from anyone, then the Darlov to make a place in my team. Yeah, Shaw could start today, but we'll have to see how so Ole manages the minute because you know that Telles and Shaw have been rotating quite a lot in the recent past. No, I might play a free hit chip. There is slight change in my strategy. So as we started the stream, that we have messed up a transfer, and there is some strategy that I've come up with. There is a chance that I play free hit chip this week, but most likely no chip next week for sure. What are the chances of Staines game postponed preponed to 18? When will we know? When will we know is a very tough question. I can't say when will we know, but there are slight chances, about 50% chances that the game is preponed. So definitely you should wait for your free hit chip. Don't play it right now. Don't take hits, especially unless the hits are for a captaincy pick like Sterling or a De Bruyne. Don't take hits. I wouldn't bring Maguire for 18 and 19 both. Dala or David Dea for goalkeeper. I think if you're picking up Shaw, then possibly Darlow makes sense. You can go David Dea. I don't see a lot of attempts from Burnley there. So minimal save points. I think Darlow will still get slight more attempts and Sheffield will try to gain points in that match. It could go anywhere, so that's the reason I'm picking Darlow. Even if there's no clean sheet, if Sheffield score, you know that they're not going to score a cheap goal, so they'll create more chances. As explained, I don't think Gundogan is worth looking in the free hit draft. I think Darlow will still start 18. If not, you can possibly look at Pickford. I think the other option I want to go to is Pickford because uh, Wolves will attack, and they then you want to look at the number of save points that a keeper will get. Unless all of Ederson is still out and then Stefan comes into the picture, I think he's the cheapest keeper to go at the moment. Fabianski would not be fit. I don't think so. He'll be fit by 16th as well. It looks really dicey to me that he'll be available for 19, but we'll have to wait for the press conference. Okay, should we look at the drafts or should we look at forwards and then just wrap this up? Is Foden a good differential? Yes, Foden is definitely a good differential. Looking at the squad City have at the moment, but as soon as players like Jesus, Walker, and everyone's back, I don't think Foden will be starting anymore. What about Castani? I don't think there's a need to bring in Castani at the moment. Will Cavani's ban left? No, I don't think there's a left. No, there's no watch along tonight. Uh, the blank gaming 29 could be for the FA Cup quarterfinal, so maximum of 8 teams will blank. No, there will be more than 8 teams blanking. Maximum of 8 teams will play. So I think that's what you meant to say. Uh, Defender McCarthy, Taylor, Dallas, Diaz, Mitchell, Kilman, El Ghazi. I do not expect. I think Mitchell Kilman to start. I think there's Nuno's press conference happening later on Sunday. We'll get to know, but there's a slight chance that he might not be fit. Like not fit, as in he might not fit into the squad. Sun El Ghazi, Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne, Suchek, Bamford, Vardy, DCL. If you want a free hit draft is irrespective of your squad. You don't need to put in your squad. I think for the best choice, I would stick to Darlow. Yeah, I will try watch along, but the problem is the game is I'm not sure if it's I think it's only available on VH1, so I'm not sure how would you stream VH1 on your laptops. Is Watkins worth the hold? No. Lacazette a good option? Yes, I specifically want to talk about Lacazette, and when you look at the goal involvement. When you look at goal involvement, for the past 4 weeks, Lacazette is top. He's 2.7, and I think he's going way too under. If I had to pick one attacker, I would definitely pick in Lacazette in my team and take my chances over Aubameyang because you have seen him perform. I've seen him play well, and I think it's worth a shout and take a chance because free hit is all about taking chances and getting in over your opponent. So I think Lacazette is fairly making place in my free hit draft for sure. Fabianski no, in Will Taylor play no. I showed the squad so that you can suggest about 19 also. Well, 19 depends on your strategy, mate. If you're playing free hit, irrespective of what transfers you make, that exactly will be your squad in 19. If you have 10 players, I don't think there's a need to go with another -4 to bring in 11. Unless it's a major player, don't do it. When you look at shots inside the box, which is another important factor, which I'd look at, we have Watkins again moving up the thing, but I don't really trust Watkins. It's something which if you have, it's good for you, but I don't really trust. Second, again, we have Lacazette. We have also Marshall at fourth. If you look at Marshall's stat, his price is 8.7, which is not that high. Big chances created, big chances total is 3 and 2 respectively. He has 10 shots, 7 inside the box, 5 shots on target, and 26 penalty touches. With a decent XG as well. So I he scored less than his XG, so he's definitely underperforming at the moment. And I think if United turn up really great again, and if they don't lose tonight against City or even take out a draw, I think they'll be great and very high on confidence and want to go at Burnley to win that game. So maybe you can double up if you're not fancying on Rashford, you can double up with Martial and Lacazette. The other only other option I would consider out of this list could be Calvert Lewin, despite of his low performance, because I think Wolves will concede. But Brewster, if you have him, you have to. Cavani is out. Richarlison, I would not go near to. Callum Wilson is again a dicey pick. I'm not really sure how Sheffield United will defend because they eventually need to get points out of the games, and I would possibly want to avoid Callum Wilson if at all possible. Chris Wood and Barnes are no options for me because United have been defensively great. And again, Kane is way too expensive. His cost is 11 on a free hit draft where I have Son. I would not double up on Tottenham. Yes, Brewster is maximum for 2 points. I think I don't expect more than 2 points from Brewster at all. Uh, Rahul, you can possibly watch the stream anytime next week as well. Okay, we'll start picking up draft players. I think I will pick a couple of players which I think are most essential according to me, and then we can move ahead with players which you think should be included in the draft as well. For me, for the keeper spot, I think I'm going to stick to Darlow and I'm going to take my chances because uh, there is a very high chance that Sheffield do not score and Newcastle might actually take away a clean sheet from here. Okay, there's no reason why I'm keeping Salah. Don't worry, guys. That was just a mistake. I think for sure De Bruyne, Bruno, and Son. These are three players that are nailed on in my team, and I think they're going nowhere out of my team. When you look at the defender spot, I think whereas there is no reason I should not pick Cancelo as discussed. I will also be picking Tierney and Mitchell, irrespective of him being on the bench or not. I think I'm going to play Mitchell. I think he'll start, and he should be a good bench folder for you guys as well. In case there's some player who's not playing, Mitchell will come in. Do you think there's some chance of postponements of City game due to the increased COVID cases? I don't think there will be any further postponements for the City team. Now the third defender is slightly tricky. If we initially try to go with someone like, let's say, Shaw, we'll have to buy him from United. Let's just start making a team with Shaw in our team, and I think we'll go with the cheapest possible option. I think a lot of people are going with 3.9 or possibly Kilman. I would go with Douglas, who's 3.8, and save point 0.1 here as well. Is the screen too blurred? Possibly you want to increase your viewing quality, and that will happen. That will go away. I wouldn't pick Saiz as a pick. I would pick Shaw or possibly Van Bissaka if I'm not picking Shaw, if I'm not sure, or Maguire over Saiz in my team. Because the only way Saiz can score is a set piece. It's not like Everton have considered a lot of goals through set pieces. You can take your chances, but I would not like to. I would stick to a United defender. Will McCarthy be back before 19? I'm expecting him to. Yes. I might also be taking free hit. It depends on how the postponements happen for Southampton actually. Have 13 double game week players and Brewster. Should I bench boost in 19? Yeah, possibly you can take a -4 as well and get a 15th player. Uh, will you be getting Salah back for double game week? Yes, I think I will be. I will be removing Sun for him. Is Wilson a good pick? I think if you can field the team without Wilson, that would be a better strategy. In my opinion, I would get Sterling into my team, and maybe there are two ways to go over here. You can either go to a cheap fifth midfielder and go 3-4-3. In that case, you play Wilson, or in case if you have like me in the Arsenal attack, if you trust them, you can possibly get Saka into your team and then Lacazette as well. I think you will be slightly short of money. Some people will be short of money because clearly even I am. And then you will have to fit in Wilson. Sterling and Saka. I think Sterling is decent. If you don't want to go to Sterling, then your obvious choice becomes Rashford. And then you double up on the United attack. A good forward, I would actually pick Calvert-Lewin over Wilson, and irrespective of Rashford or whoever you bring there, and then go for a cheap Davis. I think Davis will also get minutes, at least one pointer. So in case your team is not, someone is not playing, you will get a one pointer there. This is one free hit draft that I would pick. Rashford or Sterling is very interchangeable, and also short to Wan-Bissaka. If Adams is not fit for the double game week, I think Long is very easily his replacement. Rodrigo. There is Salah will definitely score at Anfield. Has been the case for 3 game weeks now, and hasn't he hasn't scored. His numbers haven't dropped, but I think Liverpool as a team and their performance has dropped a lot. Kevin De Bruyne and Salah for Stones and Zuma. I think that is fair enough, especially both having a game week now and also a double game week. Wilson over DCL, I would not do that. I would take my chances over DCL. I think, but if James is definitely playing that game, I would bring in DCL. You other things you can do if you're not picking possibly a Rashford is you can get in Ruben Diaz in your team and possibly nail on a position there. This is another draft. If you're picking Rashford, I would definitely double up on the City defense. I wouldn't go without 3 City players into my free hit draft or game week 18. Cancelo or Diaz? Cancelo. Any Manchester United defenders for 18 and 19? I don't think I would trust defenders from Manchester United a lot for the blank and double. If I had to, possibly Maguire or if you can't afford him, Shaw. Yes, I do trust Laka and Saka, and if you in case don't, then you'll possibly have to go someone cheap like Burke, and then the other option is switch out Adams and bring in Wilson. He will be out of budget, then you can possibly make downgrade Diaz or Tierney. But this is the second option you possibly will go and want to go. It if I had to pick, I would actually go Saka or Wilson. I would trust the Arsenal attack because of the numbers they've been posting. And maybe you can actually even go Smith Rowe and bring him, and he should be a good bench filler as well for you guys. Are you considering getting Antonio? Yes, I think if Antonio, there's news of him starting, I will bring him for Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the double game week. Worth keeping regularly on for the double game week. Yeah, if there's a better chance to switch to a City defender, I would do it. Okay, let's try put this draft in. Darlow, Tierney, Mitchell, Cancelo, Saiz, and Kilman. So he does not have Diaz. He has instead Saiz and Kilman. I think I would just let go of Kilman, put in Douglas irrespectively. In midfield, he has Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne, Rashford, Son, Smith Rowe. So that's exactly what we have at the moment. And he has Laka and Wilson Watkins. I wouldn't bring in Watkins. I would still go over. I would still take my chance on Calvert-Lewin if Rodriguez is fit over Watkins. And if he's not, I would get in a fifth midfielder, possibly a Saka or someone, maybe Neto over Smith Rowe, and then downgrade Watkins. I wouldn't, or maybe even El Ghazi. If you guys have trust in the Aston Villa attack, which I do, but I think they will be kept at bay. You can go to Grealish as well. I think there are enough options which can fill in positions. So Grealish as a midfielder is also an option. I wouldn't bring in Kane in my free hit draft. I think Son is way too enough. I wouldn't double up on Tottenham. I think I would bring in Kevin De Bruyne definitely for the double game week. Stephen's playing that game week. No, nobody can say it right now. Depends on the negative if Edison is tested negative or not. For the double game week, should I play Dyrus or Kufal? I would play Kufal. Zaha for 18 or 19. Zaha makes a tricky case, to be honest. I mean, his fixtures are not that great. If you look at 19, he has City, and in 18 as well, he has Arsenal. Arsenal haven't conceded a lot of goals. If you look at even against Chelsea, I think they conceded only one. So you know that yes, I know Crystal will attack, and also lately Eze has been outperforming Zaha slightly. So I wouldn't invest my money on a free hit draft on Zaha. If you're on free hit Navneet, then definitely remove him for Lacazette. And if you're not on free hit, then there's no point removing Kane. Then you have to play with him. Should I triple captain Bruno in a blank game week? No. In a double game week, I would still say no because of the Liverpool fixture. The only two options, in fact, not even two right now. The only option I am looking at triple captaincy for 19 is De Bruyne. Salah used is not the best, used to be the best option, but I want triple captain with his performances lately. And there's no enough proof now. You will not see him playing 18, so you cannot judge his performance before 19, saying that he will definitely perform. So I want triple captain him that game week as well. In my opinion, the best would be just to save your triple captainship for a later game week, because there will be multiple double game weeks for Tottenham, City, United as as well. And then you can triple captain Kane, Son, Bruno, Rashford, De Bruyne, Sterling. A lot of options there. Should I bring in Diaz for Dyer? If you have extra money, don't do it this week. Play Dyer because he has a fixture. If you don't have someone else, you can bring in Diaz for them. My defense is Mitchell, Reguilon, Tierney, Cancelo, and Dallas, who to start for the double game week or replace. I think I would start Cancelo, Reguilon, and then Tierney. But if you can possibly replace your defense, someone maybe a Dallas uh, or Reguilon out for a double game week player, I would do that. For the double game week, Dallas because he has two fixtures. Yes, there are more double game week players, so there's no point of free hitting in a smaller double game week. You can free hit in game week 19 as well. The next draft we have from Raghav is Tierney, Diaz, Van Bissaka, which also is an option in my opinion. Target. I don't think there's point wasting your money on the fourth defender unless you're playing 4-4 or 4-5-2. Kevin De Bruyne, Sterling, Bruno, Saka, Son. Yeah, don't waste your money on target. I think. Apart from that, it's perfectly fine. Wilson, Brewster, and Lacazette. Justin replacement need game week 18 defender with double game week in 19. I think Stones is the very easy, is the easiest switch you can make at the moment. Should I start holding? Yes, definitely. If you have him, Vardy in for Kane for double game week looks like the move for me as well. If I had Kane, I would definitely switch him to Vardy. Wildcard should I do? I think it's the best time you want a wildcard is alongside bench boost. So if you're planning to bench boost in 19, you should wildcard now. Make there's a long list of players you can bring in. You can possibly triple up on Manchester United and City, and then you can bench boost as well. The only reason I'm actually my thought process behind the free hit is actually because I'm liking the Arsenal fixture. There's no other fixture that I'm not really banking on. Also, another reason now that Bissouma is suspended, I think City will play a much more free flowing midfield, and then Brighton will concede. So maybe it's a good chance to double up on Sterling and De Bruyne and probably captain Sterling for rank chase. That's the reason I'm slightly inclined to free hit this week. If you already have two defenders from City, there's possibly only Kyle Walker Peter you can go to. Apart from that, I think Justin is also a decent hold because he has a double game week. I don't see Cavani starting most matches, so don't bring him in. My draft is Stephen, Cancelo, Tierney, Van Bissaka, Mitchell, Douglas, Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne, Son, Saka, Rashford, Kane, Wilson. Also, for the people, I would talk about. See, now we've looked upon about 4 or 5 drafts. So if you look at the drafts, you realize that most people will have a Newcastle keeper, which I think I have an Aston Villa keeper and should be decent. Fair enough. We have a city defender. I think if you have a city defender, that should be okay. The only difference in defense in most teams in a draft free hit draft in my team is the Arsenal defender. Next in midfield, I think almost every one of us will have Son, Bruno, and De Bruyne. So I don't see a lot of variance if you're not free hitting there as well. And in attack, only one player which I fear is Lacazette. I think most people will pick Lacazette and then forget about DCL. So if DCL performs, I think without a free hit as well, my team can do decent. So for the people who are not free hitting, if you can pull out 8 players this week, I think 8 will give enough competition to all of those players, because you see most of the chunks of points will lie in De Bruyne, Son, and Bruno. So and there is no reason why you should not own 3 of them, and most teams will actually own all of them. So you see most chunks of points will actually be covered in your team as well, and you have some bonus as well with Grealish coming out of team. You might have a Diaz or a Stones or a Cancelo as well, possibly Martinez in your goal as well. It's a decent lineup, and if by chance there is Southampton versus Leeds pushed into game week 18, I think there's definitely no need to free hit. Yeah, there's no point of making changes if you're doing free hit. Your changes won't count. Martinez, Cancelo, Diaz, Robertson, Cresswell, Son, Bruno, Grealish, Bamford, and Antonio. You have only six players. You possibly need to change a couple of them. Get a cheap fifth midfielder possibly, and maybe an attacker change. Best keeper for double game week according to price depends on whoever you have. If you have McCarthy or possibly Martinez, keep them. Will El Ghazi keep his place if Barkley comes back? Yes, he will. I think he will just be pushed behind. Martinez, Dyer, Mitchell, Stones, Son, Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne, Grealish. I don't see a reason you should play free hit unless you want to chase rank. But see, majority of the points will come from the midfield, and you have majority of the points covered in your midfield. So I don't see, and it depends on how certain games play out. I think the most crucial games in that game week would be Burnley United, Sheffield Newcastle, and Arsenal Crystal, because these three games will decide how your game week go against you. And for your benefit, Wolves versus Everton should go in your favor because most people will ditch Dominic Calvert-Lewin going on free hit. So, and not even actually Burnley United does not matter that much. Newcastle, how Newcastle perform defensively and attack, and possibly how Arsenal. These two teams will decide what your game week rank will look like in 18 if you're not playing free hit. Should I get Sun and Laka and Sterling? Yeah, possibly you should get Sun, Lacazette over and Sterling and leave Kane. Tip in Aston Villa for blank gaming is also fine. At least you're getting 6 points nailed on there. Bench boost second keeper for 19 have McCarthy. I think he'll be fit back. The code protocol should not last that long. Vardy and Kane Bamford, who to keep and sell for 18 and 19. I would keep Bamford for sure. Between Vardy and Kane, you have to keep Kane. And this you can sell Vardy, but again you'll want him back in 19. So unless you have a plan, possibly downgrade Vardy to someone who also like Marshall and then Kane to Vardy next week. Between Lacazette and Marshall, I think I would go Lacazette over Marshall. And even the stats said so that Lacazette is having overall better performance than Marshall. Uh, Replace McCarthy if you don't. If you're Forster, usually what happens is, which is always the advice when you, and I think we most of us have that as well. If you have Martinez, then you have to have the second keeper from the same team. It blocks you the third spot, but then it covers you in such situations. So if you have Foster, I don't think you need a situation to sell McCarthy. Abdul, just copy paste your team. I will be looking at it right now. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. His squad is draft is Darlow, Dyer, and Van Bissaka, Tierney, Cancelo. So that's four defenders. Sterling, Rashford, Son, Bruno, uh, Wilson, and Kane. Okay, he already has Kane. Doesn't matter if you're on free hit. If you're on free hit, possibly remove Kane. Get in Lacazette, in my opinion, and also ditch Dyer, I think, and get in a fifth midfielder, possibly De Bruyne. Captaincy for this week, we'll look into captaincy later on because a lot can change from now till the end because we also have a very big fixture tonight. So all of the injury concerns can change captaincy very easily. Is it a good idea to double up on attack against Villa? If you're on free hit, no, because Aston Villa are defensively not a very weak team. If you had to pick one, or I had to pick one, I would pick Sun. No, always, guys. When you go to wildcard again on your second wildcard, pick keepers. When you're picking a keeper, pick the second keeper from the same team because in case the first keeper is out, your second keeper will automatically sub on and will give you points. It's always a good strategy to put into your teams. I think Wilson for blank and Antonio for double is perfectly fine. It depends on how many minutes Antonio plays in the FA Cup, essentially. Even I'm looking at it, but if Antonio does not play, I think I would still hold on to DCL. I mean, I will not be left with the better option. I will be doing a deadline stream. We could also be doing another stream if required before the deadline, but definitely a deadline stream. Is it advisable to use free hit in double game week? You can. It depends on entirely your team and strategy. There is no set strategy for any team. So if you feel like you want to double up on your 11, you can. No, your free hit won't apply on 19. Your free hit will apply only on 18. Who to put as forward instead of Kane? I already have Cavani as a differential and Watkins. I don't see Cavani playing the blank gaming against Burnley. I think he'll miss that game. He's missing out on 3 games and possibly not start at least. So you want to replace that, and I would pick Lacazette over Kane or at least Wilson. Okay, but try one more stream before the deadline. I think we might, for the people who've come here from 442, we will be doing the stream on the weekend. So we'll cover most of the points there as well. Is Grealish still a good pick? I don't see he's the best pick out of there. I am also looking to move him out. But the point is that he's consistently giving decent number of points and he has good fixtures. That's the reason which is trapping me around to keep him in my team. It also feels like that since he's performing, I don't have any reason to waste a transfer on him at the moment. Okay, so I'll discuss my strategy after this question. I'm replacing Che Adams. Should I replace him around 6 million price? Wilson is the only guy you want to replace him with at the moment. After using free hit, will the number of free transfers remain same? No, if you use your free hit, your number of free transfers will be resetted to 1. Downgrade Grealish to free up money for Marshall and Kevin De Bruyne, or downgrade Robertson. Or downgrade Grealish to El Ghazi. I have only 7 players in the blank game week 18. No, I think you can fill in around 8 players. Now, see, that's the situation in my team exactly, Rishabh. I have Martinez, which gives me 1 player. I have Diaz, who gives me the second player I have. That's the only 2 players I have in my defense. I have Grealish, Fernandez' son, which makes it to 5, and Salah for De Bruyne will come in for Salah, which makes it 6. Now, Calvert-Lewin makes it 7. If Burke is playing, he's the 8th player, or I could do a switch from Burke to Smith Rowe. I could also do a switch from James to a double City defense. So there are 2 ways. There are 3 plans at the moment. Now the only mistake I've made is I think I have kept 2 free transfers. So if I go for a free hit, I lose 1 free transfer. And my initial strategy was I would remove Salah for De Bruyne and play with 7 or 8 players depending on Berg plays or not. And then in game week 19, I would remove Calvert-Lewin, Son, and Grealish for a -4. Bring in Pulisic, Antonio, and Salah. Those were my initially planned moves. Now that is strategy 1. Now strategy 2 is free hit. Leave the free transfer. Just let it, forget it. And there are 2 moves you can make next time with the hit, which I would be Son to Salah and possibly downgrade James to a defender or Calvert Lewin to Antonio. Those 2 possible moves. The third strategy is I would make 2 moves right now, which is Salah to De Bruyne and someone like Burke or a James to Stones or Smith or Saka. And then in game week 19, I still make the Sun to Salah move and possibly only downgrade Calvert Lewin or maybe just leave Calvert Lewin and not take a hit. So I think I'll be waiting till the last moment to confirm my strategy. But at the moment, if there's any confirmation of Burke playing, I would play these 8 players and get away with it. Steer is the third choice right now. Yes, I think Tom Heaton is back, so Steer is third choice. Should I waste a transfer getting faster now on my bench? They're not playing anyways next week. No, there's no point. Should I use wildcard in later weeks to prepare for the double or blank? For the double, yes, you should. You should pair it up with the bench boost chip, I think. I have Son and Kane. I'm looking to drop Kane and get a cheaper striker, Adams or Watkins or Antonio. If Antonio is fit, Antonio, without a doubt. Vaibhav says he has no keeper. Mitchell targets Stones, Bruno Son, DCL, Kane. Salah to Kevin De Bruyne only for 18, and Kane and Son out for Salah plus forward in 19. Fair enough strategy. I think you have about 9 players in 18 as well, so it should be good. Don't triple captain Salah for the double game week at the moment. There is no guarantee that he'll continue his form or putting up good numbers and he'll hit his good form. So I wouldn't triple captain. There will be multiple instances with Tottenham, City, possibly even Liverpool double game weeks or United double game weeks. You can easily use your triple captainship there. Don't bring in Aguero. Pep has mentioned that Aguero is not fit. He'll not be playing tonight as well. Unless you see him start a game and play 70 minutes, don't bring Aguero into your teams. Keep McCarthy. I don't see any reason now that he's not playing in 18 irrespectively. So I don't see why you should replace him. If he's fit for 19, that's it. That's what you want. Alioski, I think, is nailed for the double game week. Especially now that even maybe Struge is also nailed on because I think Cooper is still out for about 20 days. Darlow, Cancelo, Saiz, Tierney, Bruno Sterling, Son, Neto, Saka. Kane Marshall. I think Neto hasn't been putting out those numbers. I would actually fancy El Ghazi over Neto in that team, and maybe not to double up on Tottenham. I would possibly not double up. I would actually downgrade Kane to someone like Wilson and upgrade Neto to a Kevin De Bruyne if possible, or even a Rashford, depending on who your preference is. Yes, I think for a -4, if you're bringing Kevin De Bruyne and Lacazette, definitely do it. I mean, those transfers are really nice. Kane to Vardy in 19 looks like a good move. Matip, there's no guarantee that Matip will be back for the double or before the double. Thanks, Noor. I think we'll wrap up the stream. If you guys have any other questions or anything, you can put in your questions. See, can't really comment on the game week rise, but a lot now that United and City have a double game week, so there's no guarantee that everyone will captain Salah. Initially, it was like everyone's going to captain Salah, but now I think that every the captaincy will be very skewed up, and Bruno, De Bruyne, and Salah will share the captaincy in that game week. So triple captain can work in your ways, but I would still go triple captain in a single game week. Podence is out till the end of the month. I don't think that he's going to be fit. News on Reece James? No, there's no news on Reece James. There won't be any before. I think the earliest we get news is before the FA Cup round, but apart from that, nothing. Should I start buying Arsenal players? Not long term. I think the only long term player possibly is Holding, which I recommended last week as well. But apart from that, none. Should I remove Suchek for a blank game week player? No, don't do that. I think you will want Suchek again in the double game week, and I would, if I had Suchek, I would definitely play him in 19. I don't see -8 worth it. If you're putting out a proper 11, maybe, and if those players are explosive players like De Bruyne, Sterling, Lacazette, or Martial, or Bruno. But apart from that, -8 is just too much to save your free hit. Southampton news comes to you guys as soon as I get it and as soon as I put it on my story. So possibly just keep out checking for the stories, and I don't think there's anything to worry about. But recommendation: play your free hit chip as late as possible. Stones, yes, I think is a decent pick. 4 out of 5 game weeks, as I've been saying it. How do you rate Neto against Everton? I think Neto's numbers haven't been that great. He scored the goal against Chelsea, but apart from that, he's not been that great and consistent. Wolves in general haven't been that great. You see odd goals through maybe Fabio Silva or a size header on set pieces, but I don't think they're very consistent, and I would not pick Neto in my free hit team. Shaw or Holding long term. I would pick in Holding because their fixtures are better. Uh, okay, he's going for a bench boost. Then possibly you will make up the -8 eventually in game week 19, so shouldn't be a problem. Hi Anshuman, I have 4 players who might not feature in 11. Should I take a free hit? Possibly bring in another player and play with 8 players if you can. Then won't be a need to free hit. If you guys can touch 8, I think 8 is a bare minimum where you don't want to play free hit. Apart from that, anything works. To win Southampton, FA Cup game is going to be postponed, so there is a chance that Leeds versus Southampton is preponed to 18. I don't have free hit. How about wildcard and then bench boost on 19? That would essentially also leave you no chips for the entire season. Also realize that 19 is just half of the season. So you possibly want to save your chips if possible. If you have a decent team to put out for 18 and 19, then save your chips in my opinion. Suchek or El Ghazi for the double? Suchek. Should I keep WordPress as a long-term pick? I wouldn't do that. I think Suchek, El Ghazi both are providing much better value. Even now, Saka is also providing decent value. I can field 10 players this week, and that's perfectly fine. There's no need for free hit, I think. If you're doing just free transfers, I think wait till the deadline. Salah to Kevin De Bruyne move is something I'm monitoring as well. So if there is any price rise or price drop, I think I'm going to wait for that moment and put it onto my story if possible. Uh, you can possibly check out your defenders. I think the easiest part to get to 8 players is possibly remove your fifth midfielder for Smith Rowe. which will give you 2 points, or remove your defender for some other defender. Yeah, if Leeds and Saints play in 18, that would be the best news I've heard this season at least. Uh, Bandana, we have discussed Rashford or Sterling in the very start of the stream in depth, so you can possibly look at that. Who should I replace Podence? I think you can replace him with Saka. That should be an easy swap. I would pick both Sterling and De Bruyne. Yes, COVID cases. I think Shrewsbury is their opponent, and they have COVID cases. Okay, so it's almost an hour. We'll wrap up the stream. Um, it was, I think, hopefully a good stream, and then we again have our three haters which have disliked. And if any of you guys haven't liked the stream, hit the like button. And if any of you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make us reach 2,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Thanks, Anshuman. And Navneet, I don't think he has anything to ask me. So I think we'll wrap up the stream. Hope you guys liked it. We'll be posting these three drafts eventually as one post from tomorrow, starting tomorrow. So each day I'll be posting drafts, and as soon as we get more news, I think we'll post more drafts. I haven't posted drafts till now because I want to be sure of the injury news after tonight's match, and after that we can possibly put predictions. Sorry, free drafts there. Predictions for tonight. I think City will kill it. There's no chance United is winning this game. Okay, so that is it from my side, guys. Hope you guys like the stream. This is FPL Tips signing off. Cheers.